What's up, everybody? This is once again Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I am here in the X Lair to help you get through yet another very difficult day with the X-Men statue withdrawal syndrome. Fear not, my friends, because today you will not be going through many withdrawals before and during this video. Perhaps afterwards you will be going through severe withdrawals, and my prescription in that case will be for you to watch more of my videos and to buy as many X-Men statues as possible. Again, there's no cure for the X-Men statue withdrawal syndrome. We can only treat the symptoms. Let's put the silliness aside for a second and let's move on to the main attraction. Today I'm offering you a very intimate look at the newest statue released by Bowen Designs. This is of the modern, not sorry that I misspoke before. I'm so in awe of this statue that I have absolutely no idea what I'm saying. No, this is the very cool classic beast statue produced by Bowen Designs. Some of you may know the story behind the statue, some of you may not. Some of you may not even be familiar with this statue, and um, after this video is done, you will probably be somewhat upset that you weren't familiar with it earlier. I'm sorry for that, and I'm sorry for everybody that wasn't able to get one of these. It was a very sort of surprising series of events that led up to me having this statue and everybody else who got one having their statue. So Bowen Designs, as some of you may know, right now it's May of 2014. Bowen Designs is in the midst of a very extended contract renegotiation with Marvel in order to hopefully renew their ability to produce more licensed Marvel statues. It's the longest negotiation process that has occurred throughout the. I think this is like the sixth phase. Each between each contract, I guess they call them phases, and there's been like maybe five phases, and now we're moving into the sixth, ideally. And I guess this is the longest time that it's ever taken for them to settle on a contract, to the point that Bowen Designs is basically on its last legs in terms of like statues in the pipeline. There's like maybe five or four more statues for them to release via their website that are on pre-order, and after that, it's completely unclear what will happen. So things have been really sort of strange the last few months for the whole collecting community, all the Bowen Designs fans, and of course for Randy Bowen and himself, Randy Bowen and company, everybody that works at Bowen Designs. I'm sure it's a very strange time for them. And so part of the strangeness led to the release of this statue. So Bowen Designs sneaked this statue maybe a couple of years ago now. The statue itself, obviously, everyone has seen this statue before in different forms. The statue was sculpted by the Kucherag brothers. What's up, Kucherag brothers? I hear Kucherag brothers like to watch my videos occasionally, so here's a shout out to those sculpting masterminds. I love you guys. Great job on this statue. They sculpted the Beast statue, and Randy Bowen et al., the rest of Randy Bowen's staff, whoever makes the decisions, decided they're going to release three versions of it. So they released one version, which is back here. It's the the original Team Beast statue. And then there's an X Factor Beast that's right here. That's in my X Factor display. And then there was this one that was sneaked, and this is the costume of Beast that he had like immediately after the original team designs. I guess in the stories, Jean Grey like made new costumes for everybody, and this was Beast's new costume, and he wore this costume. So there was a lot of so in the first 100 issues, I forget how many, maybe 30 or 40 issues were reprints of earlier issues, but during that time he wore this costume for a very brief amount of time. But it was like an important time for the X-Men because it was a time where they were starting to sort of evolve beyond like that original look and and basically the basic story elements that they had been created from. An important sort of stepping stone period for the X-Men, and then immediately after that, you had the giant-sized X-Men be introduced, which introduced a ton of new characters. I'm not going to go down the list. Everybody knows who was introduced in giant-sized X-Men, and if you don't, Wikipedia. So it was a super important time, and this is a significant look for Beast because, like I said, it was a significant time for him. But it's also like a very cool look. Like it's a very nice looking look, design for Beast. And so, although I personally was not going to I was not completely sold on getting this statue when it was first sneaked because I was planning on getting the other two, and I didn't really feel there was a place for this one in my collection. There were a lot of collectors that really wanted this statue because to them, like it was going to be one of the 5 statues that would sort of set up the original team and sort of capture them in this very sort of important period for them. So, like I said, the first 2 Beast statues were released. Then this one was not released. Everybody had seen it. We had seen photos of it, but it was not released. Months passed, maybe even a couple of years passed. Nothing. Contract negotiations started. Nothing happened. It looks as though Bowen Designs is no longer going to produce statues, or something's happening where things have become more dramatic than they've ever been. And so the prospect of this statue coming out is just basically at this point like just done. It's not in our minds. This statue will not be released. That at least that was my impression of the situation. This statue was not going to be released. So flashback a few weeks ago, we start getting emails from Rocky's Vault, which is like the sister site to Bowen Designs. Basically, Randy Bowen has a daughter named Rocky, and she runs like sort of the like this back end business where like they sell certain statues that they might have left over, like artist proof statues that were used like within the Bowen Designs organization when they were creating the statues. So there's like unique items that they sometimes sell via auctions. And it's sort of a fun thing. And every now and then we would get emails in the past about auctions, but lately it's been more consistent as far as like them offering stuff for sale and actually having like a website where statues are permanently available to be sold. And like you just kind of browse through and choose what you want. And it's irrespective of like some constricting time frame as it would be with like an auction. And so the emails we've been getting the last few weeks have been like update emails. We've updated new items on our website, and so at least for me, I always like check them out because there might be something there that I've been looking for that maybe I might want. So I always check it out. I mean, there wasn't any time in the past where I actually did find something I wanted, but I'm always keeping an open mind about these things. If something pops up, I might be willing to get it. So flashback to 2 weeks ago, we get one of these emails. I go on the site, start scrolling down, bam, I see Classic Beasts. I'm like, what? Classic Beasts? So are they like just selling like the one or 5 that they produced in-house that were like their in-house samples, like their APs, basically artist proofs? And then I look, I open up the listing, and it's like edition size 75. I was kind of in like collector shock. I was like, edition size 75. Like, this is not possible. Like, how could this be? This makes absolutely zero sense. And immediately, without thinking about it, I ordered it. Like, I realized, okay, so there's only 75 of these in existence. I don't have time to think about whether I actually want the statue or not, because if I don't buy it right now, I'm not going to have a chance to buy it again. And if I do have a chance to buy it again, I'm going to have to pay a hell of a lot more money than I want to pay for it. So I should just buy it. So I ordered mine. That was probably within the first hour of it being put up for sale. Immediately, also, I put up a blog post on my blog telling all the people that follow my blog, hey, this statue's up for sale, like, and here's a link, and if you want it, go get it right now because it's likely it won't be available for much longer. I wanted to make sure everyone who wanted one could get one. Um, and of course, within another hour, it was sold out, gone, done. And a few people online have told me that there's a lot of angry collectors out there that miss this very small sort of window of ordering time. Like they just weren't available during that time. They didn't see the emails, and they missed out. And it's really unfortunate. But sometimes in this game, this collecting game that we're all part of, you lose, and sometimes you win, and it's just part of the fun, really. Like, if you are on top of when things are coming out, if you're sort of in the loop for all the various communications that come from the companies that kind of maybe at any time could surprise you with one of these sort of limited surprise offerings, then you're likely to win at least half the time and lose sometimes as well, because not everybody's always available throughout the day for these things, right? An example for me is the white costume premium format figure Storm statue produced by Sideshow Collectibles that came out about a year ago now. Like, I got an email from Sideshow around 2 in the afternoon saying that this statue was being put up for sale, and I'm pretty sure I got it right when it was sent. And when I clicked on the link, it was already on wait list. Like, there were maybe 200 of them made, and they were sold out like that. Like, people just like scooped them up, and immediately within that week, the statue was going for sale on eBay 2 or 3 times what it originally cost. And it bothered me that I wasn't able to get it, but I understood. I understood that you win some, you lose some in this collecting game. Like, sometimes you do catch these like sort of surprise offerings, and sometimes you don't, and that's just part of the fun. So that was a disappointment, but with this statue, like, the scales sort of balanced for me. I just happened to be available during the time that the emails went out, and I just, of course, pulled the trigger without hesitation, because that's what you should do if you are on the fence about a statue like this. Like, just pull the trigger, because worst case scenario, you can just get rid of it later, give it to another collector that wants it, or maybe turn a profit at some point in the future. Who knows? Whatever. If you guys can do whatever you want to do. For me, like, reselling it wasn't really an option. I got the statue because I liked the statue. I didn't really have a place for it, but I knew that I would find a place for it because it's a great looking statue. And I finally got it this week after and another unique thing about this whole experience was the fact that it was sent out within like a week of it being put up for order, which is totally different from your standard sort of pre-order situation where something goes up for order and then you have to wait like 3,000 years to get it. With this statue, is like it's something that we were looking forward to. Didn't think it was going to come out. Didn't know when it was going to come out, if it even was going to come out. And then all of a sudden it did come out, and within a week it shipped. And that is just completely unconventional. So that was just like the icing on the cake. So when I got the statue this last week, which is like a week after I ordered it, like, I mean, I immediately fell in love with it. It's a beautiful statue. I mean, of course, it's the amazing statue that the Kucherek sculpted. It's slightly different than the original Beast statue in that the head is slightly tilted differently. It's a little bit more sort of perpendicular to the ground, whereas the original Team 1, the head's slightly tilted to a slightly off angle from like a perpendicular angle. And of course, the X Factor statue is like it's completely turned around the head, and so it gives you a completely different sort of effect. But with this one and the original team, they're very similar. But there were some great choices made on the statue. Of course, just just the most basic thing is like the X belt. I love this X belt. It's like a trapezoid kind of belt buckle with the X in it, and it's yellow and it's fantastic. Um, but the thing I really like about it is like this sort of blue metallic-y kind of color that they use for the blue elements. It's really nice. It's a really nice uh, sort of different take on this statue. Like the other statues don't have this kind of like subtle metallic element to the paints. So on top of it just being a different design for the costume, it does have a completely different effect as well. Like Bowen Designs, they do a great job of like differentiating their products from each other, especially when you have variants. And they paid special care in making this one different from the others, and they did a great job with it. So I love the blue that they chose. I love like the dark blood red color for the red elements. They're fantastic. And of course, the rest of the statue is pretty much the same as the other two. Just great, like in the physique, the arms, the hands, the feet, fantastic. The face, immaculate. The base, of course, the bigger circumference X base. Just stellar. Just I think this is actually out of the three beast statues, the three variants of this statue. I think this is my favorite. It's my favorite of the three. It's definitely the design, the colors, and the choices of the paints, like really sort of set it apart and above the other two. My second favorite being the X Factor, because I really love the X Factor costume, and then my third is of course the classic, original team statue. See, now I have to differentiate between that original team statue and the classic statue. You kind of have to have these very sort of distinct differentiations between the statues, like in terms of like the name, like classic versus original. It's like you have to have a way to distinguish one from the other, and I guess that's what they chose. Anyway, silliness aside, in terms of the naming of the statues, really happy with the statue. I'm really happy with the statue. So again, there were only 75 of them made. I'm pretty sure. I remember on the website they said they were only selling, I think, 70 of them. So I think they might maybe kept 5 of them. I got number 25. Yay, number 25, great number. It's a great looking statue. And so what I wound up doing with it is I wound up putting it with Iceman, the Ice Slide Iceman in my Daytov case. And they work great together because that Iceman could be the classic Iceman. He just has an X belt, and that works for various eras, so it works with this era. And then I was thinking of getting Marvel Girl, the Marvel Girl, the one with like the yellow cat mask, and like the green skirt. I was thinking of getting that one also and kind of putting it with these three, because I have Cyclops that would go with this set, leading the giant size X-Men team, and so. I don't want to really make a whole other team, but I don't have that Marvel Girl statue, and I thought maybe her with him and of course Bobby on the ice slide would look really nice together. Just with him and Bobby together, I think it's a great set, and immediately when I put them together, I was like, okay, this is it. This is basically like this statue's permanent home. These guys go great together. It doesn't feel like superfluous. It doesn't feel like it's there just to be there, just because I could get it. It feels like it belongs, and so I'm pretty sure that this statue is here to stay. Initially, I had put up a disclaimer on the post that on my blog that told people that the statue was up for sale, that I would be willing to trade this statue for that Storm White Costume Premium Format statue, in order to somehow balance the scales, because I have always felt like I missed out on that statue, and I would like to get it, but I don't want to pay like $800 for it. But I did think that if there was a collector that had that statue, that had purchased it from Sideshow Collectibles, not from some seller on eBay for like 3 times the amount that it went for in retail, but a person that had purchased it for retail, if there was a person like that that was interested in trading Storm premium format figure variant for this statue, I was willing to make that trade. Now that I have this statue in hand and I found like this really great place for it, I don't think I'd be willing to do it anymore. I think I'm going to hold on to this statue. I think it's definitely a keeper. Anyway, so I think I've spoken enough about this statue. I want to give you guys one last look at it, and of course I've got some photos on my blog as well if you're interested in checking it out. And you can there should be a button right about there that you can click on, and you can check out some close-ups of the statue on my blog, X-Men Statues of FuturePast.blogspot.com. Again, I'm really sorry for those folks that did not get the statue and that wanted it. I know that people from overseas are not able to order from Rocky's Vault, so I really apologize for that. But I mean, folks, like, sometimes you just have to accept like the limitations of one's of your situation. I've accepted my limitations. Like, I remember like retro cable on the Sentinel head. I missed out on the original offering of that one, so I wound up paying $600 for it, whereas it had initially gone up for sale for $350. So I wound up paying $250 more for it, but it was totally worth it to me. And now it's going for like $1,000. So even if I wanted to sell it, it's not like I would lose money on it. Of course, I'll never sell that statue, never. Anyway, folks, thank you again. Here's one last twirl for you of this very impressive beast statue. Thank you for checking out my YouTube channel. It is Dr. Remy LeBeau's Exler. If you haven't already subscribed, you have my invitation to do so. As maybe some of you have noticed, I put up a review yesterday of the Amazing Spider-Man 2 that came out yesterday, actually. So I have an undergrad degree in film from a certain #1 film school in the country that shall remain nameless. And although I've moved on from film to a different discipline in my graduate studies, I still have sort of this really sort of filmic minded perspective on films, and I found that it was a really fun time to kind of express that immediately after watching the film via a video. And I thought it would be a great way to branch out in my channel to other things beyond statues, because my channel is not necessarily explicitly intended to demonstrate to have content related to X-Men statues. It's not. It's Dr. Remy LeBeau's X-Lair, and that can go anywhere. My blog is specifically for X-Men statues, so that's what my blog will always be for. But my YouTube channel can be for anything. But I'll try to, of course, narrow the focus. But I do like the idea of posting movie reviews for at least the big comic book movies. Obviously, the next one, the one that I'm super excited for, is X-Men Days of Future Past. I cannot wait for that film. It's going to be incredible. I'm going to explode from happiness multiple times as I watch that film, and I can't wait to share my thoughts on that film with you guys, and I look forward to hearing your thoughts as well on this statue, on The Amazing Spider-Man 2, on anything else that I have posted on my YouTube channel. And one last thing, as far as like me not going on the statue message boards anymore, it was a conscious choice on my part. I'm in a 5-year graduate program. I'm finishing the 4th year. I'm going into the 5th year, and it's super intense. And what was happening before is that I was spending way too much time on the boards, and it was actually taking time away from my ability to do some of the work that I need to do. And so I realized, okay, I need to just kind of narrow my hobby related activities to a very sort of defined, controlled space in my life, and that's like these videos and my blog. This allows me to do stuff when I have time for it, whereas with the statue forums, I was just on there all the time, and it didn't matter what time it was. I was just always on there, and it was just too much for me, and this is a very sensitive time for me. So I just want everybody to know, if you're on those sites, it's not like I love the community. I love everybody that's on these sites, but I'm not purposely like neglecting you or just kind of shutting myself off from you guys. I'm doing the most practical thing I have to do for myself in order to make sure that the thing that I've sacrificed pretty much everything in my life in order to achieve, it actually gets accomplished properly. Anyway, that's my little personal note. Thank you for checking out my video. Hope you enjoyed the statue. And as always, you better put an X in that box because ain't nobody checking me. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.